By the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king.
It was quite ironic, though. The irony was very glaring. They called it the No Kings Rally. But the great irony, of course, that we pointed out over and over was if President Trump was a king, the government would be open. If President Trump was a king, he would have closed the national parks and the National Mall, so they couldn't have had the rally out here. By the way, that's what President Obama did during the shutdown in 2013, closed all the parks and the National Mall.
Well, that's right. And by the way, the BRICS currency makes absolutely no sense to me as an economist. I mean, is somebody going to say, "Oh, I don't trust the dollar, so I'm going to trust the ruble and the Brazilian currency and the yuan"? I mean, obviously, the United States dollar is the world reserve currency, and it will remain so. You know, the thing about the rise in gold price that puzzles me, Larry, is that if Steve Forbes were on the show, he would say, we want to keep the dollar as good as gold, right? And that happened under Reagan, et cetera. So if the dollar is good as gold, then why would you buy gold?
Chips. I put big tariffs on chips unless they're made here. There's no tariff if they make them here. And all those companies are coming back from Taiwan. They're coming back from all over the world. And they're coming back fast. You know better than anybody else, $17 trillion. It could be $20 trillion by the end of the first year, my first year.
Investment in America.
Investing in America, $20 trillion. No country's ever done anywhere even near that, like a fraction of that. Biden did less than $1 trillion in 4 years. I did 20 trillion. We're going to do over 17 trillion in 8 months. By the time we end, we could do over $20 trillion. There's never, in China, no matter where you go, there's never been anything like it. We are building up something that's unbelievable. And a big part of that are the tariffs.
One of the things I want is China's going to buy soybeans. I want China to stop with the fentanyl. Very, normal things. I don't want them to play the rare earth game with us. Well, we're going to have to see what's happening. We want to make sure that it's going to be very peaceful with Hamas. And as you know, they've been quite rambunctious. They've been doing some shooting, and we think maybe the leadership isn't involved in that, some rebels within. But either way, it's going to be handled properly.
Which is a lot like the Meta neural band, which was launched on September 30th in the United States. This is the first major tech company play into widespread neural interface for the rest of us. And again, this is not at all signal-wise like implanted neurotechnology. It's picking up instead on peripheral nervous system activity, basically neurons as they travel from your brain down your arm to your wrist, and muscle activity, the electrical activity there, picking up through EMG, electromyography. But in the recent demonstration by Mark Zuckerberg, what he showed was the ability to do things like type with very minimal movement, or thinking about just basic finger flicking or switching in order to interact with their new augmented reality glasses. And that, I think, is where the more widespread likelihood of affecting the rest of us is, and where you have convergence between the implanted world and the consumer wearable world. Very different purposes in different markets, sharing the broad umbrella term of neurotechnology. Is it possible, for example, if you have earbuds in that have sensors that are tracking brain activity, and there are times when you just want to be listening to music, do you have the choice to turn off the sensors in the collection of data?
We don't make decisions based on our intelligence, and neither does AI, by the way. We make decisions based on our morality as informed by our intelligence, right? And so if each and every one of us starts to show AI what it truly is like to be human, actually decides to reverse the evil that men do.
Right? Welcome to the Cryptoteacher.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. Trump says he's not a king. And guys, we know that no king protest is all entertainment. We can go back to the 60s and see, after they did all the kapows, all these protests going forward were all planned. If people think that somebody's out there fighting for them, they choose to do nothing. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have Trump saying that trillions are going to be invested in America. But he doesn't say why. He says the money's coming from tariffs, but he still does not tell you why. And we know that's because of the fourth industrial revolution. They want these robots, algorithms, and drones to take this economy over. And humanity sitting on the outside looking in. And we have tariffs are creating a new supply chain. And of course, China is moving all their goods over to the emerging markets, leaving again America on the outside. These farmers are hurting. You just automatically just stop buying any soybeans, and now Trump is saying he wants China to buy soybeans when he could have stopped it from the beginning. Remember, guys, we're in a fragmented global economy. They have to break up everything in order for the fourth industrial revolution to take over. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have Israel and Hamas striking each other. And guys, what we're going to do, get our popcorn, sit back, and let it play out. Because we know something big is about to happen. Eventually, it's just going to go too far. But then we also know it's a plan. It moves in phases. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have the World Economic Forum. And one of my Patreon members sent me this. We're seeing all this new technology now being able to read the body functions. And we know this is just one step to transhumanism. Half man, half machine. Meta has an EMG wristband. And we know when it comes to these earbuds, reading your brain activity, we know Apple already has a patent. All this technology is slowly moving in as a convenience for you. But this technology has evil agendas. They can read your brain activity. They know what you're thinking, people. So if they know what you're thinking, they actually can plant false memories. And of course, you're going to go off of those false memories. Guys, I know it sounds like a movie, but remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. We've already seen it in the movies. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And then we have all these digital asset treasuries, all this leverage out here. But guys, what they're doing is just selling a narrative. But eventually, this is not going to end well. Yes, you have to ride it. But eventually, it's all going to collapse in the hands of the central banks. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. Crypto is going to take the blame of the fall of this legacy market. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have the Attorney General of Florida goes after Roblox due to the abuse of kids. But guys, we know the social media is even worse. And we know nothing's going to happen. They're just going to do a probe. We know Roblox is being set up for the metaverse, and it's going to be even worse when it comes to the virtual world. And if you are going to let your kids play Roblox, make sure you're paying attention to what they do. Me personally, they definitely should be outside. Being a kid, the best times to be alive. Because as soon as you get on that net, you're entering into the web. And we see these kids get stuck in there already. And it's only going to get worse. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. Because he knows, when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
It's now at about 12%. So it's gone up, institutional supply has gone up from 4 or 5% 2 years ago to 12% of total Bitcoin supply, which is incredible. It's been a great supporting factor on price. Today, for example, the institutional demand for Bitcoin, both Bitcoin ETFs and treasury companies, is about 500% of the daily mine supply. So it's a really big, demand push from the baseline, which historically has been very supportive for Bitcoin price. That said, I question the incremental value add of number 200, 300, 1,000 treasury company, because if you list in the US now and you're a treasury company, what are you offering over and above the other 50 or 100 treasury companies to entice capital? And the answer is typically not much. And that's why we've seen over time the MNAV of all these treasury companies compress. And that's basically the value of the company to its Bitcoin holdings. So if the company is trading at less than the value of its Bitcoin holding, its MNAV is less than 1, and that creates a number of problems. Yeah, it's a few things. I think it's an element of saturation because there's almost 200 treasury companies now. If we compare it to something like the investment trusts of the 1920s, a very similar investment vehicle where these companies would go and raise capital from investors and buy stocks. People at the time were saying that stocks had a scarcity value to them. The companies back then in the 1920s were launching at 2 to 3 times a multiple of their net underlying assets. So they were able to then go and buy more and basically leverage up. And they were a pretty big driving factor for the 1929 collapse. The difference between then and now is that there was a lot higher use of leverage, often 3 times to 10 times at the end of the peak. But today, fortunately, the debt to leverage ratios are quite low at a healthy sort of 25 to 30%. But it's definitely something to watch because as MNAV goes less than 1, you can't issue equity because it's dilutive, it's just bad for shareholders. When MNAV is greater than 1, you can issue equity, it's accretive, and then everyone benefits from the positive Bitcoin yield. But when it's less than 1, you can't really do that. So your options are limited. You can issue debt and increase your leverage, and that increases that risk factor. Or you could sell some Bitcoin and buy back your shares to close the gap a bit. Also not really great for your strategy and for Bitcoin generally.
This is Attorney General James Uthmeier. Today, our office will be issuing criminal subpoenas to the online children's gaming company, Roblox. Roblox profited off of our kids while exposing them to the most dangerous of harms. They enabled our kids to be abused. Companies like Roblox have become breeding grounds for predators to get to and have access to our kids. These criminal subpoenas will enable us to gather more information for our prosecutors about the criminal activity taking place on Roblox platform, as well as evidence on the predators that are out there and the victims that are abused. At the end of the day, we will stop at nothing to fight to protect our kids, and companies that act carelessly and expose them to harm will be held accountable.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. We will, and if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're going to get more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing